Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and here we are to break down the MLB slate on DK here for Friday night. It's a 14-game slate. We haven't seen a slate this large all season. The past week or two, we've just kind of been littered with 4, 5, 6-game slates, and there's been some weather impacting those slates as well. So we've seen a lot of lineups being very similar, stacks going 40, 50% owned, even higher. But we won't be getting that tonight, which is a great thing. So let's just dive right into this. Weather-wise, only 2 games that we really need to be monitoring at the moment. Obviously, make sure you're monitoring the weather throughout the day because things change, storms pop up, you just never know. But at the moment here, we got to look at the Boston game in Boston. It's about a 50% chance of rain. Um, and then the other one is in Kansas City. I think this one's much more of a postponement risk. It's 80 to 90% chance of rain all through the afternoon in KC, all throughout the night, through first pitch, and even after first pitch as well for a few hours. So I'm banking on this one getting postponed. I just don't see that they're going to be able to get it in here. Uh, but that's kind of it for the weather. New York has the rain symbol on DK here, but looking through like the weather app and other weather sites, it doesn't seem to be any uh, issue for the game here. As far as pitchers go, we got the big 3 pitchers here up at top. We got DeGrom, Bueller, and Scherzer. DeGrom's going into Coors, but he's going against the Colorado team that just can't seem to score at all. Going into their game on Thursday, they only scored 6 runs in their past 5. So they just can't seem to get anything going, and now they're going up against the best pitcher in the entire league. 11K, still not high enough for me to get off of him in my cash games. I'm definitely going to be putting him in here because I like him more than Bueller and I like him more than Scherzer. Bueller's had a great start, but he's only had 4 Ks in each game. He's going against San Diego now. San Diego is the lowest strikeout team in the entire league so far this season. And if I'm going to be paying 10-7, I'd like a little bit more upside with my strikeout potential. And he's only 300 less than DeGrom. So I'm going to be not fading Bueller completely. Obviously, he's still a great pitcher, but I'm going to leave him for the GPPs. It's going to be real tough to jam in 2 of these top guys just because salary is tight on this slate with the batters. A lot of the teams are priced up, and there's really not too much value out there right now. Scherzer, he's not the Scherzer of old, but he's still doing well. The Ks are still there. He's got a little bit of an issue with letting up the home run ball. He let up 4 against Atlanta. And even going back to last season, he let up a few more than he typically does. But I'm still going to take him. I take him over Bueller as well. So in order of the top 3 for me, safest to the worst, I'm going to go DeGrom, Scherzer, and then Bueller. And Scherzer over Bueller just for that K upside. Urquidy at 10.1K. I don't understand it. Last time he was on a slate, he was 7.4. So he got a near 3,000 salary increase, and he's going on the road to Seattle against a team. Seattle's a top 10 run scoring offense so far this season. So I don't know what happened with his salary, but no, yeah, I won't be on him at all. Keeping on going down. Matt's, he's in that rain game, so I have no interest in him. Eflin's going against St. Louis. I have no idea what St. Louis is so far this year. They threw up 1 run in the opener, and then they threw up a couple games with only like 2 or 3 runs, and then they hit 8 runs, and then 7 runs, and then they went back to 2, and then they hit 14, only for the next game to get completely shut out. So I have no idea what their offense really is yet this season. So Eflin, I'll take him as a nice salary saver here at 8.6. Probably just going to be GPP though. I'm not really going to be looking too deep for my cash lines here with Eflin, but we'll see. Things can change. especially as lines come out, maybe new value appears with injuries, with COVID. You always have the COVID risk that you got to watch out for. So who knows? Maybe Eflin will bump up into my SP2 category of somebody that I'm going to be able to trust in cash here. Not Logan Allen going to Cincy. I'm not going to really be targeting pitchers in Cincinnati, just with Great American Small Park. Home runs are being hit all over the place. He just kind of hit this gross zone of pitcher, starting with like D. Scalfini, and then just moving on down to pretty much everybody. I mean, it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. I guess I like Eflin more. I'm kind of talking myself into Eflin a little bit more as I talk, just because the guys below him. There's nobody that you're really liking here. Carlos Martinez, he's not the Carlos Martinez of old. Fulte going against Baltimore. Baltimore K's a lot. Fulte, he could do well. He could do well, but I mean, for 7-1 GPP, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to trust him in a cash game here. Heaney. Okay, that's an interesting one. So lefty going up against Minnesota. Typically, I would say absolutely no way would I play a lefty pitcher against those Minnesota bats. However, Buxton is day to day. He's had a hamstring injury crop up, and he didn't play against Boston in their doubleheader, so he might be out tonight. Simmons, their starting shortstop, he just got placed on the COVID list with a positive COVID test, so he's going to be out. Maybe during the day today, there's going to be more positive COVID cases that kind of trickle through the team. I hope not, but it's definitely possible with all the close quarters here. So if indeed like Minnesota is out 3-4 of their starting hitters, Andrew Heaney could make a very interesting GPP play here at 6.8K. He would provide a lot of savings for you to kind of go get those bats. He got absolutely lit up against the White Sox, 7 earned runs in just 3 innings pitched. They have a very strong righty bats who can take him deep and who can hit for power. And that's exactly what Minnesota is as well. So that's where my hesitancy is. Chicago, Minnesota, very similar in the heavily loaded righty bats with power who can hit well. So he got blitzed by Chicago, but then he went out against Toronto and did amazing. 6 innings pitch, no earned runs, put up 32 DK points. So I think he makes a very intriguing GPP option if Minnesota kind of does have Buxton out, and if there are any more injuries or COVID cases that kind of appear through the day today. But let's just dive right into the bats here. 3 teams that I'm really focusing on as far as kind of like cash and safety are Oakland, Philadelphia, and the Mets. Oakland's going up against Urania, who just does not have any control at all. He's walking batters at a crazy rate so far this season. It extends back into the spring as well. He just can't seem to find the zone at all. When you can't find the zone, your pitch count just starts creeping up higher and higher and higher. And then you get pulled in the 4th and 5th inning, which is been very common for Urania here. So it's going to be a heavy bullpen game for Detroit, and guess who has the worst bullpen in baseball? Yeah. So Detroit's got the worst ERA. They allow the most home runs per 9. And the other thing that's really putting me on Oakland is, once again, their bats are hitting very well. And they just don't seem to get any more expensive. In fact, some of their hitters are even cheaper than when they've gone on this offensive explosion the past couple of days. So it was like 5 days ago or so, they hit 6 or 7 runs, and then they've just continued it on for the next 5 or 6 games. But, guys like Kanha still 4.2, Chapman's price actually went down through all this offensive hitting. Laureano is still 3.9, stolen base machine. He's hitting well. Lowry's 4.1. So it's not an expensive team to pay for with the bats. So Oakland definitely there. Philly, I'm going to be targeting Carlos Martinez all season long. He has just been terrible. If you look at his 2020 stats, his spring training stats, his first two starts so far this season, they're all just disastrous. He has like one or two outliers where like he was a stud, but I don't think it's going to be happening here. So I'm going to be targeting Carlos Martinez here. Those Philly bats, a little bit more pricey than Oakland is. But I mean, if you can squeeze a mini stack in there, I definitely think there's some bats in there that you want to target. Obviously, Bryce Harper in the lefty-righty matchup. Do I want to call a home run here? I don't know if I do. But lefty-righty matchup going against Carlos Martinez, who just can't save or can't pitch anything right now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking through this Phillies line. I think they're going to do pretty well here. But like I said, the pricing is up there a little bit, so it's going to be tough to kind of pair them with, especially if you do want to go with the two stud pitchers. The third team though, the New York Mets, going in Coors Field, they're facing Chichi Gonzalez. He's an average pitcher to below average pitcher. It's Coors Field. The thing with the Mets though is they got priced up, obviously, like Coors. But there is one bat that I'm really looking at, and that's Nemo. Nemo is only 4.1. He's hitting 464 so far this season, 28 at bats, but still hitting 464 in 28 at bats. There are a lot of lefties in this Mets lineup to target the righty Gonzalez here. So if you can find the salary, I mean, maybe it's you taking a guy like DeGrom and then taking that gamble on Heaney down at 6'8". Maybe that's the way that you're able to get Lindor and Smith and Nemo and Alonso. But other than that, I'm not sure you're going to be able to get like a really large stack with these guys just with the pricing. GPP, crazy GPP call here. I know, but I'm going to go with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh facing Milwaukee here. Let me pull up the salaries here. So Pittsburgh has been hitting pretty well lately. They hit well against Chicago. They did well against San Diego in their 4-game series that they just finished up here. And they are super, super cheap. They're only the most expensive player on Pittsburgh is 3.6K. 3.6K. So you're kind of able to jam in like two of the studs like DeGrom and Scherzer if you want, which I don't think is going to be a popular route. It's kind of pick one and then kind of go down to that mid tier. But you could jam in those two studs and then get a pit stack for super cheap. Now, the reason I'm going with Pittsburgh isn't just because of their pricing. I mean, their offense, they're hitting well for average. And Milwaukee is sending out Hauser here. I don't expect him to go any farther than 4 or 5 innings. So it's going to be a lot of the Milwaukee bullpen. And that Milwaukee bullpen has been really shaky to start the season. They're a bottom 10 bullpen in ERA, bottom 10 bullpen in home runs per 9. So they're allowing a lot of home runs. And they're not striking anybody out. They're a bottom 5 team in strikeout percentage. Hauser, I don't expect him to go too deep. He's had a decent start to the season here, but if you look closer into the stats, he's allowed 17 base runners, and only one of those 17 base runners has reached home plate. He let up a home run to Garver in that first game, so I'm taking him out of the equation. So he's only let up one run in those or 1 run from all of those base runners in the first 2 games, and that's just not sustainable. I'm not expecting Pittsburgh to be mashing 5 home runs here. That's not who they are as a team. They're going to be a contact team who's just going to kind of chip away at you. They're going to hit singles and doubles, and our double, and then our single. So it's more of a grind. If you get a home run here or there, that's fantastic. But I think they're just a great way to kind of differentiate yourself, because they're going to allow you to pay up for 2 of those 10K stud pitchers. That kind of wraps things up. Like I said, just to kind of recap, you're going to be picking one of the studs up at the top for cash. If you can fit 2 and find the value, that's great. I just don't think there's much value going on this slate. Because if you put in DeGrom and if you put in Scherzer, your average salary remaining for all of your bats is 3.6. So it's you're gonna have to really be punting in a lot of places there. So kind of pick one of those top pitchers and kind of look for a mid-tier guy. I guess I'm on Eflin. He might be my favorite option there in the mid-range, mid to higher range there. And then for GPP, take a look at that Minnesota line. If Buxton is out, Simmons is going to be out, but if any of the other starters get out through like a positive COVID test or something, Heaney could be an interesting play. As far as the bats, I like Oakland, Philadelphia, the Mets, and those Pittsburgh bats. Honestly, the Pittsburgh bats are cheap and they're going to allow you to do a lot of stuff. So that kind of wraps things up. As always, hit that thumbs up button, drop a comment down below. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. What could we improve on? Do you want more individual targets, guys that we're on specifically? Or do you kind of like the way we're doing it now, with kind of looking just kind of as team bats as a whole, kind of going through the pitchers one by one, but then just going as teams? So let us know in the comments down below what you like, what you don't like. Make sure you subscribe, and good luck in your contest tonight.